This is the 35mm LAOWA Nanomorph lens, the smallest anamorphic lens I have ever seen. These little lenses are really starting to make a bit of a buzz online for good reason. They're really versatile and they're actually really affordable. I bought the 27, 35 and 50mm silver flare set. I bought them with my own money. So you know that there are no brands pulling strings and all these opinions are my own. First off, is the size. It's not until you literally get your hands on a set that you realize just how small they are. People say online that they are small and you know the hint is in the name, but they are tiny. I know the PL, EF versions of these lenses are slightly bigger and more expensive, but they are arguably more adaptable to more cameras. This is probably one of the biggest selling points for me because if you've seen any of my other videos, I like to travel light. I like my rigs to be nice and small and compact, and I could probably fit about 3 of these lenses in my bag in the same amount of room as one of my photography lenses would take up. You can carry a full set of anamorphic lenses in your bag and it not break your back, especially for people who are 31. Back is giving up. The image on these, I'd say, is fairly clean for anamorphic lenses. They do come in silver, blue and amber flares, and the flares take on the color of the light source that you're shooting at, so you're not locked into a certain color. It's not to say that I don't like the blue and the amber because I think they can work in specific scenarios, but for me I think the silver would be the most versatile in more situations. A lot of people look for a lot of character when they buy these types of lenses with wild flaring and a lot of barrel distortion, which yes, I do love too. I just generally think because they're only 1.5 times squeeze and designed for super 35mm sensors that you're not going to get the crazy character you will find in a set of Orions, for example, that would sit on a full frame sensor. But what you lose in character, you gain in compactness, smallness, size. Tiny. Okay. I don't think you're going to find that with these lenses, at least not without the new adapter that they've just released, that essentially turns all of these 1.5 times anamorphic lenses into 2 times anamorphic lenses, which means you have a set of 1.5 times and 2 times in one. Happy days. LAOWA, if you fancy sending me one of those adapters, that'd be good. I'm never going to give the most technical reviews, but the color and the contrast to my eye seem fairly consistent. I found the longer focal length naturally had crazier flares and ghosting going on, which I didn't hate. It kind of gave it a little bit more character. There is a slight pincushion distortion throughout the set. I know this would probably be enough to turn some people off because a lot of people like the barrel distortion over pincushion. For me, it wasn't really noticeable enough and it can be corrected in post. Sharpness is really good across the set. Chromatic aberration isn't too bad either. You get a bit of vignetting on the 27mm when you're shooting wide open. Generally, when you stop down to about T4, this fixes this anyway. There is some minor focus breathing with these lenses. It's kind of part of the package generally with anamorphic lenses. Considering they are anamorphic lenses, they're not really too bad. In terms of usability, the only real thing that I found quite difficult was focusing. It's so fucking hard to focus with. But then again, peaking on anamorphic lenses tends to be quite tricky anyway. If you have the luxury of a focus puller on set, this will probably make your life 10 times easier. So if you are planning to shoot with these, it's probably just worth taking that into account. All the gears on these lenses are all lined up in the same place. They all weigh roughly about the same. And when you pair them with a fairly stripped back Komodo rig like I did, it all feels really nicely balanced. So it should make your AC a very happy person. This obviously makes any gimbal work or drone work a breeze. At less than $1,000 a lens for a really high quality, well built anamorphic lens, I just think is a steal. LAOWA have released some really exciting products in the past couple of years. The probe lens, which has been used to death. You've got the 12mm zero distortion wide, which I've used on a handful of projects, which is wicked. Proteus anamorphic lenses, which look really good, that I really want to get my hands on at some point, which is class. And I don't think these are any different. I think each of the products that they have released in the right scenario are perfect for what they are built for. For such a reputable brand, I think it is a really good price, especially when you consider if you get the adapter, you've essentially got 2 lenses in one. Other competitors like Sure and Greatjoy have some really nice anamorphic lenses too, and they all come with their quirks. At the end of the day, they are all budget friendly sets. They're never going to stack up against a set of Atlas Orions. They're just a whole other beast that they're never really going to compare to. It's all subjective. I like these. It's not to say that I dislike the others. I just prefer them. I think these lenses are realistically aimed at people who are looking to dip their toe into the anamorphic world without having to sell their house to get a set. They're probably not going to be enough for an anamorphic connoisseur, but they will be enough to wet someone's whistle. They're probably geared more towards single shooters, directors who want a more practical set of lenses that they can just chuck in their bag and shoot for a full day, where you don't have the luxury of a full crew changing lenses and carrying around gear for you. And whereas, yeah, they won't cover full frame sensors, I think that's how they were able to make these lenses so small. And nowadays on full frame cameras, they tend to have crop modes in them, so you can still use these lenses with those cameras, technically. If you want to see the full film that we made for these lenses, I will pop it up on screen somewhere, and if you want to see the behind the scenes for that kind of shoot where we just have a bit of fun with zero budget, I will also pop that up somewhere else. If you do enjoy my content, if you have ever found it useful, if you've ever giggled at how immature I am, subscribing does genuinely really help. I love making this shit. I would love to carry on making this shit. Subscribing helps me to make more of said shit. So thanks. Yummy.